Haiti is home to more than 6 million people, and it is one of the poorest nations in the world. There had been 6 coups there in 5 years before democratic elections were held last fall, and Aristide became the first democratically elected president. He was inaugurated in February and is the first freely elected black man to lead a nation here in the Western Hemisphere for some 200 years. Leslie Griffith is here now with more on that story. Leslie.
Elaine, President Aristide is a former priest and is considered a champion of the common man, someone who cares about Haiti's peasants and the incredible poverty that they have endured for so many years. It was those peasants who rallied behind Aristide last year and elected him president with more than 70% of the vote. These pictures were taken 8 weeks ago by an independent Bay Area producer who is putting together a documentary that was to be titled Haiti, Harvest of Hope. Included is an interview where Aristide was asked if he could count on the current military.
I'm sure of that.
At the time of this interview, President Aristide spoke with affection for Haiti's peasants, of the injustice of previous military regimes, and of his hope for the future.
We did a political revolution on February 7, 91, and we are doing now a social revolution. It's not only a dream, it's a process.
When this documentary was planned, things were much different in Haiti. Civilians walked the streets of Port-au-Prince unafraid. President Aristide was purging the brutal Tonton Macoute from the government, and people were less and less frightened. At a village about 250 miles away from Port-au-Prince, residents of a small town called Jean Rebelle exhumed their dead as Aristide's military protected them. The residents said the Tonton Macoute killed their loved ones 4 years ago, and until Aristide provided protection, they were afraid to dig up the remains to identify them.
This is the exhumation of bodies from an unmarked grave of 139 peasants that were massacred in 1987 by the landowners and local Tonton Macoute forces. The peasants were beginning to organize for larger pay and for benefits, and the landowners, this was their response to that organizing. And this is exactly the sort of thing that Aristide was trying to change when he speaks of justice.
And the latest word that we have from Port-au-Prince indicates that gunfire can still be heard in the city. The AP Newswire is reporting that fewer than 100 people have been killed in the violence. However, the Haitians that we spoke with in Berkeley tonight say that they are receiving reports from their relatives in Haiti that many more people have been killed. Meantime, Kevin Pena, the documentary producer that we talked to tonight, says that there is still hope that President Aristide will be returned to power. Pena says that he hopes to be in Haiti the day that that happens.
Of course, right after that, I immediately went to Haiti after this showed on Channel 2. It's the #1 primetime newscast, local newscast in the country. And it's an example of the effect that one can have in trying to shape an argument. The coup had just happened. There was a lot of trash that was going to come out about Aristide later. People purporting that he was crazy, people purporting that he was on drugs. Just an amazing amount of crap that came out about Aristide. And really, to be able to get this piece the day of the coup on Channel 2 was in itself a coup, because I think that it helped to define the argument and the terms of the argument for the coming years, just for people to see my footage beyond that news broadcast. I did return the next day to Haiti. I snuck in on a plane with an industrialist who was somewhat sympathetic to Aristide, and spent a grueling 3 weeks during the coup. My friends being killed, my friends being forced into exile, my friends being thrown into jail, friends being tortured. Very, very difficult time. And ultimately, I think that coup left everyone just a little bit tainted, including myself. I lost a good part of my innocence, particularly when it comes to understanding people and just how brutal people can be toward one another, and trying to make sense of what motivates someone to be so cruel in those circumstances.
Aristide is forced into exile. For 2 weeks, the military imposes a dusk to dawn curfew. journalists at the General Hospital morgue see huge rooms packed with corpses. Hospitals filled with survivors. Gunfire and explosions are heard each night as the armed forces create a state of terror. One of the hardest hit areas is the slum of Cité Soleil, where Aristide's support was strongest during the elections. The military launches nightly raids into the area, firing indiscriminately into houses at bed level as people sleep.
One night I was sitting at home. This was after the coup, I think about a year after the coup, and I was sitting at home watching CNN late one night, and all of a sudden Jesse Helms gets on the television and he says, "Not one American soldier should be sacrificed in order to return this crazy priest." And they showed dead bodies and they associated Aristide with death and destruction, and I was just aghast when it said the Republican National Committee had produced this hit piece on Aristide that was showing on CNN. So I called Aristide in Washington and I said, "Have you seen this thing?" And he said, "Yeah, I have." I said, "Well, I want to do something about this." And he said, "Well, go ahead and call Jean-Claude Martineau, who is his presidential spokesperson, and see what you guys can do." So I called Jean-Claude. I said, "Jean-Claude, get a hold of Ted Turner and demand that we get equal time. You know, this isn't fair. They're only hearing one side of the argument. Let's see what we can do." So we called Ted Turner, and they did give us equal time. They gave us 16 slots on the CNN International Hour. But what I didn't expect was that Aristide called me back and he asked me to produce it. And it was the first 30-second spot that I ever did, but I believe it had a tremendous impact from the feedback that we got internationally. Again, advocacy, helping to shape an argument, frame an argument, so that the truth has a better chance of getting out. The truth won't always get out, but sometimes you can affect the context so that enough of the truth can come out that people, if given the chance to think for themselves, I think ultimately always come to the right conclusions.
For the first time in history, Haiti held free and fair elections. President Aristide won by a landslide. Aristide's election gave the Haitian people the hope and promise of democracy. In a bloody takeover, the military has killed thousands of their countrymen whose only crime was supporting democracy. The killing must stop, and democracy must be restored.